We're going live right now. We're alive right now. Let's see. Let's give some people a chance to show up and
Who will
see.
show up first, Dave?
Yeah, who will show up first? There's nobody right now.
Sure Sharp?
I don't
Biker
know.
Don?
I don't know. I mean, I appreciate anybody showing up for the sheer fact that I would forget. I didn't do one. We didn't do one last week. Did one the week before. No, on the 7th we didn't do one. We did it on a Monday. So I don't know if anybody will show up. But either
Yeah,
way,
that was the Monday after New Year's, I think, right?
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Oh
did
wait,
one
no.
then, and we did one on. Oh, hey, there's Blake is here. Yo, Blake, what's up?
Hello, Blake. Good man.
All right. Thanks to Blake, I'm actually doing this. You started it all, brother. You started it all. But I still don't know how to do it on my dumb phone. Good evening, gentlemen. Yep. So we got 5 watching right now. All of a sudden, everybody is kind of coming on in. And the topic here is, as the title says, so far the worst 2 years in 26. Now, what you might not know about that is the fact that my business, and I'm sure everybody's business, is being so affected. Me and Oral Walk were just talking about it. Is New Vision says, don't forget it. But other people in business, I'm sure, could say the same thing. That, and I mean, as a matter of fact, I said all this stuff to Blake. As a matter of fact, if you remember, I was constantly mentioning this stuff to you. That I thought the 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, or it was more like 09 through 012. 2012, 2009 to 2012. I thought um, that was literally it was still the worst ever that I ever had to live through. But what this is turning out to be is actually worse than then. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, everybody talks about it. There's nothing. You're not a citizen anymore. You're a servant, you know. So yeah, maybe I should be considered mowing grass. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know why I see your ass sitting in a truck all the time if you're out mowing grass. Yeah, Dave, be a landscaper. Yeah, Bourne says that. Yeah. What is bad? What is bad is our country is being raped by our leaders. Yeah, well, it's that old thing about the government is too big to fail. You know, everything can be too big. That's for sure. But to lead up onto that subject of things that I miss because I haven't done them in years now, at least 2, is go out and do a video called R&D, research and development, if you don't know what that stands for. And I used to go out on a given weekday when I picked the day, I picked the weather, I'd go by myself I don't take anybody with me. I have nothing in mind other than picking an area. And this is what I tell people all the time. I tell people this all the time. If you want to learn, let's say you move here from, I don't know, Kansas or something, and you're a bass fisherman. Pick an area around here. We've got 318 miles of river, but in Duval County, Florida here. Oh, he thinks I should be, I make a better male gigolo. See that, Gary? Blake thinks I should be a male gigolo. Yeah, I should be anything but what I'm doing. That's for sure. Well, either way, you should pick an area and become a master of that area, an area that you can easily go fish. So you could live in a different part of Jacksonville, and there's going to be a part of the water near you that you can easily frequent. And when you frequent that water, only go where it makes sense to go. Don't drive 20 miles or 15 miles to get to another area. Pick 5 miles, 4 miles, 3 miles, 2 miles. I kind of did it myself years and years and years and years ago in a 14-foot rowboat with oars and a little kicker motor on the back. I would fish around the same places I fish now, called the Mayport area. That's where I fish. And then I wouldn't really go out of it because you can't really. Blasted Cat says, late, but I'm here. My boat has been parked with a cover over it. Yeah, I know. I'm not seeing any fishing videos from you either, Blake. But so pick an area and become a master of that area. And I did that because I was limited to a 14-foot rowboat with a kicker on the back. So I never went, 10 miles out of my way to go fish another spot. And the reason I'm upset is I can't afford to go out and do any research and development. And it really kind of hits me hard because I would love to. And instead of just picking an area anymore, okay, instead of picking an area that is around me, I know the area. So what do? I would love to pick a technique. Well, I pretty much got bottom fishing. I got that down. Throwing jigs and shrimp, I got that down. Float rig fishing, got that down. Got the t-shirt. But there's some other stuff that I like to do, and I kind of picked up some items to show y'all here tonight.
Before you show it, Dave, would you say that you are the master of your domain?
I could be, yes. I could be the master of my domain. Except my domain doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I would like to be able to go out and challenge myself in another way. And I picked up some stuff that always interests me. Okay, if you've been a member and been watching this channel for a while, I'm trying to get the hooks. They're all tangled. And that is like a standard thing with lures.
Now, wait a minute. Take your time, Dave, because when you showed the buck knife, that resulted in a serious injury. So be careful with them hooks.
Thank you for reminding me.
Slow, consistent.
Where was that? It was on my hand, and I mean, here on my desk, and all over the floor, there was blood everywhere.
Well, we don't want a replay of that, so nice and easy.
Okay, a lot of people are commenting. New Vision says, what about R&D in a kayak? Well, I'm sorry, Blake, but you won't find me dead in a kayak. And the reason being is I don't like everything right here on my lap. I like space, and that's the reason I got a 26-foot boat with ballroom dancing. And if I had another boat, it would even have more ballroom dancing. I don't like those confined. I just never been. Here's what I say about kayaks. You put a kayak on a trailer? Really? Well, why don't you just put a goddamn 14-foot John boat on a trailer? A John boat is less than a kayak. I mean, that's how I am. So, okay. If anybody's been paying attention, you know that I love these little, I call them jerk jiggers, but the name brand for them is the Gotcha Plug. I love these. I've caught speckled trout on them. I've caught a flounder on them. I've caught yellowmouth on them. I've caught, well, up at a creek, I caught pup redfish on them. It's just a simple little thing. But what does it have in common with a lot of the stuff that I like? I even made my own out of some round stainless tubing, and I put my own hook hanger on it and everything. I love that this is so simple and cheap. It's not no $15 lure. It's simple and cheap. Back during the Trump era, these were $1.95 at Wally's World. Now, in the joke Biden economy, they ran up to $3 a piece. I'm glad I've got hundreds of them, because every time I went to Walmart, I'd go buy the sporting goods, if you can call it that. There's not much of the sporting goods left in any Walmart. And I'd grab a handful of them back at $1.95. So, but they're metal. They're metal. Some people have an affinity for soft plastics. So then I found these, and they didn't work out as good as I hoped they did. Believe it or not, I found these vibrating lures called the Steel Shad. And they have the lead here, and it makes it nose down, and they have the multiple, let's see if I can kind of show you, the multiple tie points. And they're a vibrating blade bait, and they come in all different sizes and weight. I believe these are like 1 ounce or something. They're very flashy and give off a ton of vibration. Why do I like these? And I wanted to try them because they're metal.
They vibrate, Dave?
They vibrate like a SOB, man.
Do they catch ladyfish?
Like this.
Do they catch ladyfish?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sure they would.
I'm sure they would.
I can't remember if I caught a ladyfish on them or not.
I'm sure you have.
You know, but these are definite ladyfish, because when you dart these through the water, and on a gotcha plug like this, on a gotcha plug sort of, I can't get that pointing it right. You're supposed to pump it, kind of. There's a retrieve to make this lure go sideways, 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 sideways. That's how these gotcha type plugs are supposed to work. So I went and I was researching a extremely simple, longevity type inshore redfish trout type lure. And I know Gary may have not seen these, but that right there is the Johnson Silver Minnow weedless spoon. It's got this guard right here, weed guard. Bass fishermen use these. Redfish fishermen use these. To quote, actually, do you remember the guy Joe that I did a video about, that I met, and he was vacationing here in Jacksonville from Louisiana, and he was from the west side area of Lake Pontchartrain. Well, while I was talking to him, And he gave me a knife to sharpen while he was here. He said to me, "Oh man, all I need is a damn gold spoon and cast it at a point that's pointing out in the marsh." And he says, "I'll guarantee I'll catch redfish every single day." So, I mean, this is a staple. It's a staple for Southwest Florida, anywhere they're fishing shallow water, which the difference here is you've got to play your tides. And that's the challenge. That is the challenge, is take that area and take one or two lures or whatever. And for me, I don't have a lure fishing boat. You know, I'm not a lure boat. But I used to have, I had 6 22-foot bay boats with trolling motors on the front. It's not like I don't know how to go around and throw some lures. Oh, Biker Don's in here. And let's see, Bourne says, "I'm in Green Cove on the river. Gold is king here." Well, gold is king with me too, to answer somebody's.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, and maybe one of the viewers or whoever, how much of a role do you think that color plays? Silver, gold, and I've even heard some people say a hammered texture, a non-hammered texture.
Yeah.
How much of a role do you think, or maybe one of the viewers, do you think that plays in your area, or generally?
Well, here, I can't speak for anywhere else because I don't even know what the hell clean water looks like. I have no idea. I've never fished in truly good, clean water. As a matter of fact, though, that water over there in Lake Pontchartrain looks like Bahamas water compared to Jacksonville. Okay. But here we have tannin stained water. And Bourne here says he's down in Green Cove Springs, which is south on the river. It's where you can get some influx of salt, fresh, kind of going back and forth,
brackish.
Like that. So the water many times there looks like Coca-Cola, or they always say tea-colored water. And the gold just really shows up good. But before we move away from that, I mean, gold, see, Trying Hard says, "Do you prefer silver or gold?" I prefer gold because even the water near the inlet and things that I'm fishing still is extremely tannin. As a matter of fact, you see it on the boat ramp. If you're going to run into some clean water, you'll see in about a foot or two, 18 inches or so, up on the boat ramp at not dead low tide, but you'll notice it. I notice it all the time when I walk up and down the dock. You'll look down and it makes the concrete look yellow. Well, the concrete ain't yellow. It's green, covered in algae and stuff like that. And sand is all over the concrete boat ramp. But you look down and you see this yellowy kind of tint to the water. That's the tannin. That's the tannin that's in our river water. So Trying Hard says, "I think gold looks better, but I'm not a fish." That's true. It all goes. I just was watching. I don't know how I ended up on it. Some guys that are a bunch of crappie fishermen up in Canada or something. I didn't know they had crappies up there. And he was like, "Use any color jigs and stuff you want." He says, "But I want to use flashy, get it out of here colors." Because he's fishing places where these crappies are all staged up around a tree on the bottom and stuff. And he's wanting to flick jigs in there that kind of just, what his motto was is colors that he don't care. He wants bright and purples and pinks and chartreuses that they notice no matter what, because it's obviously, I saw it was perfectly clean water, that they grab it and want it out of there. So that was his motto. But one thing I wanted to show is I put them on my tools of the trade page. This size right here is, come on, here we go. This size gold spoon, in which I want to go out and R&D with all day, is a 3/4 ounce. Well, a 3/4 ounce in the major St. Johns River, where I do all my fishing, and maybe even some creeks, in shallow water will really cut it. This 3/4 ounce is about all you're going to need.
How do you think that would fall, Dave? You think that'd fall like a flat fall jig, or
it
more
flutters.
like
It flutters on the way down.
it's got that like a flat fall? It just like a slow pitch. It just
And if you add any current, this is going to fall 25 feet from where it plumped into the water. It's going to be way to hell over here or way behind or whatever. By the time you go down even in, say, 10 or 12 foot, 10 or 12 foot, it's going to take a while for this sort of to get down, because it's got so much broadness for the current to push on. So there's a remedy for that. As I was telling Gary before we went live, when I've done these R&D trips, when I went out by myself and picked an area to fish and said, this is all I'm doing today. I am fishing here with this technique, and I am not leaving this 1/4 mile zone. I've had some of the best trips of my life. I've caught some of the biggest trout I've ever caught. I've caught the biggest redfish I ever caught on a lure. Okay. Days that are burned into my memory because that's how much it meant to me. Well, I went and did a hunt because everything's opposite here on this webcam. These are only 3/4 of an ounce. But I went and hunted up even bigger. This is 1 1/8 ounce. And look at the size difference. And the reason being is I fish.
Hold the other. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Bigger.
Okay.
I fish bigger and deeper water a lot. I mean, shallow water for me isn't 2 or 3 feet. Shallow water for me and my normal fishing is going to be 12, 15, 20 feet. Okay. Because a lot of my trout spots are 12 to 14 foot. That's what they are, So I went and got this big boy here. Same exact thing, except bigger and heavier. So I don't think your little 12-inch pup redfish is going to smack this where he may smack this. A gold spoon and redfish are synonymous as a rubber worm and bass fishing. That I'm telling you, redfish and a Johnson gold spoon, or a silver spoon. They call them a Johnson silver minnow. This design of this lure, I believe, has been around since the 1950s. I'm not sure, but it's been around forever. Johnson, that's the name of the company. And of course, Berkeley bought them all out. Berkeley owns everything, or Pure Fishing owns everything.
The evil empire.
The empires, yes. So I got other spoons coming from a company called Acme Tackle. Such another old name. They made a bunch of freshwater little spoons and things like that. But I found some 3/4 ounce, I believe, ones called the Sidewinder. And I have them coming. Okay. Hey, Frank, I'm glad you made it. I appreciate it. Glad you made it. So, for inshore fishing, and many times, believe it or not, you can drift down the jetties in the springtime and you can have an absolute ball throwing a regular spoon with a treble on it. And on eBay and Amazon, you can find these. I believe these are 1 ounce. You can find these dirt cheap. I mean, we're talking burn them cheap. Instead of buying like Allure Jensen, what do they call them? I can't remember all these names. There's all these name brand ones, but I mean, it doesn't matter. You're going to kind of burn them. You're going to lose them and everything. Now, what I did even on these, let me go back. Let me go back a second. When I got these, both sizes, the gold plating, especially on the big ones, is kind of all over the hook point. And that's one thing I don't know if a lot of fishermen really, really, really pay attention to. We should pay more attention to our hooks. On lures like this, when I pulled it straight out of the package, I told Gary, I said, I could have run this through my jugular vein. I mean, it wouldn't have done a damn thing because the gold plating was all over the point of the hook. And I got a bunch of them here. Every single one was dull. Now, what I wanted to do now is be like a knife blade. I want that hook point to kind of grab my fingerprint. I want to feel my fingerprint in that tip. So what I even did is I got a box here in front of me where I'm going to be putting these in the boat. Is I put in there a stone that Gary gave me. It's 120 grit diamonds or triangle stone. And I was sitting here before the live stream and I was kind of sharpening up these points. And I'm going to keep this in the box. Okay, something like this here, something like the old gotcha, the old jerk jiggers, as I call them. I ain't worried about sharpening any of this. I mean, there's a treble here and there's a big single there. Now, if I felt that the hook point got bent over, I would. Okay, but I got these and I sharpened them up because I'm going to be fishing more of the main river, and I wanted something bigger and flashier inshore. So that's.
Hey, Dave. Born says gulp. He says gulp.
I don't use gulp because if I buy gulp, I buy goddamn bait.
I'll tell you right now, gulp and a pen reel ain't gonna get you very far with Captain Dave.
Boy, does this guy know me or what? Huh? Does he know
It's not going to get you very far.
Okay.
I use gulp, Born.
You guys use a ton of gulp because you don't have any available bait.
Oh, sure we do. We do.
Okay. You got your squid and your green crabs and But I mean, bunker. Just for you to jump in a boat.
Plenty of bunker.
Plenty of bunker. Okay. Well, then that's what I'd be using if I lived up there.
Oh, I do. I use it all. Whenever I can get it, I use it. Yeah. I don't think there's anything that swims. I don't. You know what? I know you call them. What do you call them, Dave? Pogies? Porgies? Pogies? I don't think there's a fish in the ocean that swims that wouldn't need a bunker. It is like they got so much oil in them. It's like just they're biting into a big, greasy, delicious pizza for them. It's just.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's anything that swims that won't eat bunker.
Yeah, and that's sort of our problem here, because as soon as it hits the bottom, it's like a big juicy piece of shrimp too. As soon as it hits the bottom,
Gone.
they're all over it like stink on the manure pile, you know.
And it's soft. They're soft, so they ain't going to stay on the hook very long.
Well, either way, Bourne says you said Berkeley. Yes, Berkeley owns Johnson. Berkeley owns, or not Johnson, but it's Pure Fishing owns, Johnson, Stren, Abu Garcia, Penn. I mean, it's all just one giant conglomerate. But yeah, these are made by Johnson. The Johnson Silver Minnow is what they're actually called. But you can get them in gold also. And many times you can get them in different painted colors too. I put these on my Amazon Tools of the Trade page, the big ones, because these big ones, I've looked for them on Amazon before, and I couldn't find them. I caught wind that they came out an ounce and an eighth for some reason. And I looked at them about maybe a year ago, and I couldn't find them. Because this right here and smaller, this size right here is your most common. Your 3/4 and your 1/2 ounce or something like that. But I ended up picking up these dirt cheap, just plain old spoons. And what I do is I put a, just like on these, I put a ball bearing swivel on the very end. And I didn't like the hooks that were on here. They were these silvery, crappy looking hooks. So I put a, like a permasteel type coated hook on here. And it's just a treble. I just replaced the treble with a treble. I didn't replace anything else as far as the split rings. The split rings seem to be fine. But that's what I would love to do right now. Shore sharks, profile fish, minnows, flounder fishing. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Dave, you want to do you want to do R&D fishing. You want to go out, do your own thing, catch. But you're not allowed to have fun when you're doing that, right? You realize that.
Why is
If
that?
you're having fun, it's not work.
Well, that's what I want. I want to go out and have fun and be.
Well, then it's not work. You're just having fun.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with wiping some kid's snot or tying on anybody's hook or untangling their bait caster or anything like that. I don't want nothing. When I go out by myself, my boat operates like a goddamn oiled machine, man. Except for the last time I went out by myself. No. Yeah, the last time I went out by myself, it was so foggy I drove into a bunch of rocks and caused $160 damage to my propeller, which ended up costing me almost another $650 to buy a spare propeller.
There was almost the oiled machine almost spilled a little oil on that trip.
Yeah, that was that will never ever happen again.
I hope not.
It will not. I won't go. I am not going out in that fog. So Bourne says he makes his own plastics and he uses bunker menhaden oil in my plastics. See, some people I'm the metal guy. I don't know if you caught that. Did anybody catch that? I got a metal boat. I love metal. Metal shop in school was my favorite class. I like fishing metal and I like simplicity. I look at something like this and say to myself, you know why this thing has lasted the test of time? Simplicity. That's the reason why.
Dave does like metal. He does. He tried to talk me into having when I got on my boat, like a heavy metal Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like every Tuesday, heavy metal, nothing else. No bait, heavy metal. That's it.
I would try it. You can do that yourself. You can go out and experiment.
I did try it.
You know, I mean, maybe none of this will work, but I mean, let's put it this way: this steel shad, which this is steel, it has lead melted onto it. They put a decal on it. They drill the holes. God dang, they drill the hook hanger holes. I put on the single hooks. Up here, you got to have a couple holes so you have the vibrating, you know. So, I mean, this is actually a kind of a little complicated lure, I would think, compared to that. I want to go out and just, this is what I would do on an R&D. And to get back to the beginning, Sleepy Joe is killing me. I cannot afford to go out and burn a bunch of fuel, which I use all the non-ethanol. Takes diesel to get to the boat ramp because I got a diesel truck. And I don't want to go out and have anything happen to my boat because I have to be so like a fireman. Anytime that phone rings and somebody says, I want to go tomorrow because nobody gives you any heads up these days. If I get a heads up of 3 days, it's unbelievable right now. I mean, they call right at the last second. So, all right, let's go through a couple of these comments. Those remind me of old Mepps spoons. Which one? These? These here? Or these? Yeah, Mepps made something that was like this, sort of. Let's see. Shore Sharp says, Orwalk, do you fish for tautog up there?
Of course I do. Tautog are also known as blackfish.
And guess what? They're like the sheep's head of Northeast Florida.
Yeah, they are. They're fun to catch. They're the best eating fish. You know, it's just once you get one, you're not going to catch them unless they're on structure. Once you get them on the hook, they're going to want to go right back into where they're smart. They go right back into where they were, and they'll rub the line and they'll try and break the line. And it's just a lot of fun. I love catching them. They got a set of teeth on them like a horse, you know, like they're just made for breaking shell and crushing crabs. And
everybody says they're exactly like our sheep's head. Exactly. And I go, no, they're not. They look totally different. They're a wrasse, aren't they? They're in the wrasse family, and a sheephead is the king porgy. A wrasse.
I don't know what family they're in. I'm not familiar with what family they're in. I do know that they're fun to catch. It's just,
you need to ask John Skinner.
Yeah. I'll drive up to the North Shore. I'll drive up to the North Shore and ask him. I'm sure he'll give me an appropriate answer.
I think they're a wrasse, or possibly in that family. I'm not for certain. And our sheep's head are a large porgy. I always call them king of the inshore porgies because we have porgies offshore. You've got whitebone, knobbed head, jolt head, ringtails. You got all kinds of offshore species that are in the porgy family also. Okay, Bourne said the second one. Really? You've never looked through Amazon or seen on eBay how you can buy these in bundles of 50? It's a stamped gold electric plated piece of metal. Gator spoons are down in Jensen Beach. They make the same type of spoon, Gator. They're in all the bait shops. So either way, I mean, everybody's made a spoon. Everybody has made a spoon. Shore Sharp says, Oric, I know a captain who caught the world record Totog last year, he got another world record on 39-pound line, 27 pounds. There's 39-pound line.
That's that. Well, yeah, I guess there is 30-pound, 39-pound line. Some of the China made. I noticed myself. I bought some. I think it was instead of 25-pound test, it was like 20, 24 pound. It was weird numbers. But that's a big blackfish. That's huge, and they're not all that bright. I told
Well,
Captain Dave
sheepshead
when
aren't right. Sheepshead are dumb as the rocks they
yeah.
hang around.
Well, you know what? They're smart when you get a hook in them. They go back in, like I said. But like I told Dave, I used to dive, and like you see everything when you dive. You have decent water, and if you saw a striped bass, I did see them. You let a couple bubbles out of your mouth, and it's like this: boom, they're gone. But blackfish go like this. They come at you like this when you're in the water, and then they turn and they give you a target like that to shoot into them. When I used to spearfish, and I caught some big ones spearfishing, but they're definitely fun to catch. Though I don't dive anymore. I'm too old. I'd wind up drowning. But they're a lot of fun to catch on the line. They really are. They're a lot of fun.
Hmm. Well, I believe the world record sheepshead has come from Louisiana at something like 22 or 23 pounds or something. Um, see what Shore Sharp says. Fishbound charters, Ocean City, Maryland. Captain Kane bound. Oh, Bourne says we have them. Yeah, believe me, I got to hear from a customer of mine who lives in Virginia Beach about fishing the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel. Oh, we just tear up the biggest goddamn sheepshead you've ever seen and all this. And the problem is I took him sheepshead fishing back in November, I believe, November. Yeah. And he caught one about 8 or 10 inches long. So I don't think he's catching them, but he says they catch them. So I believe it. They're everywhere, you know. Born, I'm up in the bay in the Tangier Sound. So we got a couple Chesapeake dudes going on here. Shore Sharp said he meant 30-pound line. Well, let me tell you my story about the dumbest sheepshead ever known to man. It's real simple. I got a customer on this side of the boat who is old school and he's a cranky old man. I got a guy on this side of the boat over here who's a young, 30-something adventurer kind of guy with absolute 5-gallon buckets of money falling out of his pockets. I mean, that's the kind of guy he was. And this was a customer of his. The old cranky guy was a customer of his. We're on the south side of the South Jetty here in the St. Johns River, out at the inlet. And we're on the south side, so we're fishing basically in ocean water. And I got the young guy throwing a jig and a shrimp, and I got the old man is doing the dabbing the fiddler crab down, kind of like you use the green crabs on the jig on the jig heads. I had him with an egg sinker, a leader, and a hook, and he's just dabbing down into the rocks. Well, the young guy sticks a sheep's head with a jig and a shrimp, and he's fighting it. Oh man, this is a good one. This is a good one. This is back before braid was invented. Braided line was a glimmer in, the guy who worked at the lab at Safari Land who made bulletproof vests or something's mind. I mean, that's how, braid all got started, supposedly. So we're fishing like 10 or 12 pound mono, fluorescent green mono. And he's fighting the sheep's head and he gets it up and he goes to lift it out of the water. And I'm like, no, no. I could picture it like slow motion in my head.
Slow
I was
motion.
in my old Maycraft boat. They're both standing in each corner of the transom. And I'm up by the console, and there's the net right there, like leaning on the console. And I grab the net and go, no, don't lift them up. And he brings his head up out of the water, and you watch the mono go, pink.
Step.
Sheep's head falls back in the water. Well, of course, mono back then could not put up with the abrasionness around the jetty rocks. No way can 10, 12 pound mono. Okay. So you had to constantly be nipping it off and retying. The old man, 30 seconds later, is on the other side of the boat and he's dabbing his filler crab down. He goes, I got him. I got one. And he's reeling down on it, reeling. And I got the net in my hand and he brings it up and I scoop it up and it's an 8 pound sheep's head. And I drop him on the deck, and what's he got? He's got the old man's hook is in one corner of his mouth, and over here is a jig head with a piece of green mono sticking out of his mouth. That fish fell in the water with the jig head after being fought to the boat, swam under the boat, and immediately ate a filler crab dabbed down into the rocks. Within 30 seconds. That's not a smart fish. That's not a smart fish. I mean,
the first time he fell in slow motion, it must have been.
Yeah. I mean, I saw how big. I mean, an 8 pounder is pretty good size.
Yeah, that's big.
That's back when you could go to the Mayport jetties and throw jigs and shrimp all day long and catch trout, weakfish, whiting, sheepshead, black drum, flounder. You didn't need anything else. Now you go do that and you're going to catch junk fish, maybe a sheepshead, maybe a redfish, junk fish, maybe a trout, maybe a flounder. I mean, that's how things have changed.
Dave, I'll be right back.
With that?
I'll be right back with something I'm going to show the Chesapeake guys.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
It looks like the Chesapeake guys are figuring out who's where. Is that the pony crossing? No, that's Chicoteague. Oh, that's right. But here's the point of this. And like I get back to the title of this live stream. So far, the worst 2 years in 26. I mean, number one, I don't want to go out and have anything happen to my boat. I don't want to put hours on it. I really don't even want to put hours on it now because the future is so uncertain. I mean, that's the problem right now. The future is so uncertain. And I guess nobody tells me. I mean, I got New Vision Security here. Or what is it? What do you call now? New Vision Residential. Oh, he's just killing it in the trucking and the cutting grass world. Got no worries in the world. Well, there's a lot of us that got tons of worries. I mean, I guess I'm
Chesapeake guys.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you can see them. These eels are the. Oh man, I don't know if you've tried them. For you guys I don't know how they do in Florida, but in the Chesapeake Bay, I don't know if you've tried these eels. but they are killer, absolute killer. Mm,
And you're not supposed to put those back in that when you've been fishing them for 4 hours, right?
no, you put them back in, they recharge.
You mean like my flashlight?
No, seriously. It says right on. No, I'm not kidding. No, it says, like all the stink comes out of them. You put them back in that juice, and they suck it. It sucks it back up. They're not like regular rubber lures. I believe me, they're expensive. I tried to melt them and put them into a mold. They don't work like that. It's something else, and it says right on the lid. You put them back in. They recharge. They suck that attractant back in, and they're recharged.
Okay. Well, I'll quote a guy up your way that I've been watching. Um, let's see, Jigging Jerks.
Jig and jerks.
I don't know what he does for a living, but he doesn't have any job now. He's just spending his entire winter in Florida. I mean, let's see.
Well, I guess he's not doing. I guess he's not doing any R&D either. Then.
No, he's supposed to be in the charter business and does so many charters, throughout the year that he has to run a spreadsheet on his costs and profit margins and all. So I guess he must be an accountant or something. But he's been in Florida making all these videos, and he went out on a small head boat, what they call drift boats down in South Florida, on Boynton Beach. It's just South Florida. And he went out on one of those and was just so surprised that nobody's using gulp. They're using real bait. They bring real bait and they're bottom fishing with real bait. And then, of course, he didn't have gulp because he said something about, I couldn't find them. I couldn't find my usual gulp or anything at a bait shop or something. But they were using cut sardines, caught all kinds of grouper and stuff like that. He went out with that friend of his that has the same boat as my old boat, my Maycraft.
Right, yeah.
Which is now rebranded for it reminds me of the Siegler reels. There was the Siegel. I used to own some. I did videos on them. They were called release reels before that, and they were called something else before that. It's the same thing. Now they're called Pair Custom boats. Pair, meaning Pair, or something like that. And his buddy from New York is down there in Southwest Florida, and he's got a Pair Custom 21 or something. And what it is, it's the old Seahawks. And he named them the Seahawks, which it's a Seahawks hull. And what happened is that somehow he named them Seahawks, and he got sued or something by Sea Fox, which is nothing but a Renken. It's a Renken boat, Renken.
Renken, yeah.
Basically a renamed Renken, and they made him change it from the Seahawks because the original Seahawks boats, which was a genuine brand, North Carolina built type boat, was way around. It was around way before Sea Fox was around. Sea Fox or the center consoles are these real Euro shaped looking. I kind of thought they were the new Bayliner, I mean, have you ever seen a Sea Fox, Gary?
I think I have. It's the impression that I have in my mind isn't very clear, but I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about.
I think if you look at one really close, the impression in your mind will just jump right out. I mean, to me, they don't have they're one of those. I don't know how to say it. They're one of these family that likes to fish, kind of. I don't know, but sea ox.
You
That's
mean like a wine and cheese boat, like that type of thing?
not that bad, but they're just too much of that Euro-y, curvy kind of thing for me. I'm kind of like old school. I like, give me a bow with some. If I'm gonna look at a fiberglass boat, I want a bow with some flair. I want a flat ass deck. It's flat. There's less bumps, and I don't need a console with all these curvies and cutty little cubby holes and all that. I'm just
How about
not.
heated seats, Dave? You need heated seats?
Yeah,
Heated
heated
seat?
and vibrating seats would work.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know. I have a friend of mine. He's got one, and it's kind of it's real Euro-y looking. I mean, it just doesn't. It's nothing that I look twice at. I'm just not.
I know what you're describing. You see a lot of those boats, like if you watch a video, guys fishing in England, they have all of those weird looking
I mean,
European things.
it's just something. I mean, I just like kind of standard stuff, kind of traditional. I don't need all the Euro-y type stuff. What was we were just talking here? Are you reading any of the comments, Gary?
Yeah, I'm looking at them. It says
Uh,
Bourne says he has a 32-foot aluminum manatee. I'm
uh,
sorry, is that manatee?
no, Marinette.
Marinette? Marinette. I'm sorry.
Marinette. Yeah, I was up here at looking at. Let's see. Somebody said something about where the heck is it? I just saw it. They said they're going to try the gulp eels. Yeah, Sea Fox is a budget boat. It reminded me of when I was walking the Miami Boat Show one time, and there was a boat called a Sea Era, ERA. I mean, that boat was so dirt cheap for what you were getting. And the Cubans, you had to part the waves of all these Cuban families that were speaking no English that were hovered around this boat. Oh my God, it was like they were giving it away because they were all going, oh my God, look at it. It was like a 21 footer. Now, this is years ago with a 115 on the back, a trailer, and a T-top for 11,599. And it was like a 20-foot or something boat, and they were all freaking out about it. So that's the Sea Foxes. They kind of look the same. Marinette, is that what it's called?
Marionette? I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, here's what Bourne says here. I do both. Can't always rely on artificial. Fish bites are good too. Yeah, fish bites are okay. I don't know. Man, to me, just plain and simple, where I have to produce bites, not catches. People think they're going out with me and they're guaranteed to catch. I mean, no, the rod's not in my hands, it's in their hands. I have people that they don't even know when they hit the bottom. And when they hit the bottom, they think that's a bite with a 4-ounce sinker. So, I mean, that gets into a whole new.
This all happens when you take them deep sea fishing.
Correct. We're out.
Yes.
We're out deep sea fishing just one more time. It says Shore Sharp says my dad has a 19-foot Sea Ox. When he bought it, he was 5'10". When he sold it, he was 5'8". It'll beat 2 inches out of him. Well, hey, I can't say a lot for boats riding great because I can care less how they ride. Me personally, I'm always a stable and anchor guy. That's what I'm looking. A stable at anchor is always my boat's only got an 18-degree dead rise. It ain't the driest, that's for damn sure, just because of the way I don't have any flare. That's how they built the boat. So 85% of the time, if I'm fishing the sound, I'm using soft crabs. Yeah, you ain't getting no damn soft crabs around here. How about that? You ain't getting them. If you went to buy them, God help you. I know a guy who goes and tries to get damn soft shells and all that stuff. You ain't. And there's so many bait stealers. You can't use a hard crab around here and cut them in half and expect. And then the current is so strong that it'll wash your crab right out.
Is that what you do, Dave? You cut them or you quarter them, or because some guys just take the legs off and use the body. They carry scissors. They cut the legs. But do you
Yeah.
quarter them or cut them in
I
half?
try to get as much as I can out of them. If I can get 4 pieces out of them, I will. If I just have to, if I say pop their lid and then just cut them in half,
Right,
it's
right,
like,
right.
there's, I would have to go out and run some crab traps to make it viable for me. I think we're allowed 10 crab traps. And I would have to run crab traps and
Now, for you, we're talking blue claws, right? Not green crabs. We're talking.
no, yeah, just regular blue crabs. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'd have to go out and run my 10 traps to get enough to fish with, because every time I even did a video. I mean, I know in the 990 videos I got, I can't even find the goddamn thing where I was using crab here, I was using big giant dead shrimp here, and it was one of these bluebird days. I don't know what the problem was. We were sitting on a great spot, and I don't know what the deal was, but getting a big redfish was a serious issue. And what did we get them on? The dead shrimp. Maybe the crab scent brought him in and he ate the shrimp before he got to the crab. I don't know. But on that day, dead shrimp won. I get him cast netting. Well, I certainly don't cast net any crabs myself.
I've caught them cast netting
Oh, yeah.
accidentally. I mean, I don't aim for them, but I'm going for something else, and I come up with sometimes 2 or 3 in the net. They're laying on the bottom, I guess.
Most of the time when I'm throwing a cast net, there ain't going to be no crabs there. Shore Sharp says, we don't have shrimp this far north. Blue crabs are king. We know that up there. Half of your blue crabs come from around here because I have friends of mine that put them on an airplane and ship them up there.
I'm sure you do.
When you're eating your blue crabs in Maryland, you're probably eating, Jacksonville, St. John's River crabs. Okay, for fishing soft crabs are king. Peeler crabs aren't nowhere near as effective. All right, well, either way, we're definitely not getting any of those. There's certain things that I'm just not going to be able to get as bait as easily. I mean, that's the reason I go to the bait shop. You know what they want for one blue crab right now? One blue crab live, and that might be questionable, is $3.
Oh my God.
It was $2 just a little while ago per crab. Do you know how many you need to go out and successfully fish? A 65-quart cooler. Go to Wally's World or West Marine and look at a 65-quart Coleman cooler. You need that where it's almost level across the top.
Yeah, they up here. They're all you got to do is just walk down the dock, and there's thousands of the smaller ones on the dock. I mean, it's just littered with them. You're not supposed to take them until they're a certain size.
Oh yeah.
But every once in a while, they seem to find their way in my boat for bait, even though, maybe they're a little too small, but they do
Oh,
work.
They jump from the seawalls and the docks and stuff right into your boat, probably, right?
It's a problem. I've talked to the people where I keep my boat. I tell them, these crabs, they're constantly finding their way in my boat. I'd like it to stop. It doesn't stop. What can I say? It's not my fault.
You got to dispatch them one way or another, right? Bourne says crabs are great for red drum run in the Chesapeake Bay. Yeah, that's a no shit story right there. They're great for everything. They use them all the way in Texas for giant redfish. They use them here. I know guys that literally go out and use that 65 quart cooler slap full. They either buy them off of a crabber, which will be, the last ones I bought was from a crabber friend of mine. It was he gave me them for $25 for a 5-gallon bucket, and they were all dead. And by the end of the day, the bucket was so stinky. I thought I thought it was full of bilge water out of this crab boat. It was, you couldn't go near it because it was still warm out. And I was
Can I tell you a little secret about, it pertains to blackfish. I don't know if it would relate to sheep's head, but up here, okay, in the winter, all of the blackfish, all the tautog, they go out into deeper water. All right, that's for the duration of the winter. When they're in deeper water, the mollusks that they eat, whatever they find, the little clams, the crabs, because they're in deeper water, they have thicker shells. It stands to reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're feeding on this all winter. When the spring comes around and they come into the inshore waters, their mouth and their lips are all beat up from chewing on these thick shelled things. So the softer baits actually work better in the spring than they would anytime else.
Well, you know what that kind of goes with? The reason that I've done very well years past, and some people still believe in it. I don't know if, again, like I always say, I don't know what people know or what they don't know. But when it comes to spring sheep's head here, clam, balled up on a hook, and you take some of that stringy spider web kind of elastic shit you can get on eBay, you gob it on a hook, and you spin that on, and it keeps it on your hook, cast it out, and a sheep's head comes over like a crackhead and goes, he snorts that shit right up his nose, and the rod goes,
probably because it's soft.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
They eat clams like that, no problem in the springtime. As a matter of fact, my old sea daddy, Captain Randall, used to get us Carolina chowder clams that were the size of a damn softball years ago. And we used to go to a certain place and use nothing but the clam. And we would take 2 of those clams and smack them together and drop them right behind the boat and let them sink to the bottom and just peel out that scent. And you'd sit there and catch whiting, sheep's head, and black drum. My largest black drum ever on any boat I've owned or any customer ever caught was like 92 pounds. And it was a piece of shrimp on a hook, then a clam wrapped on the hook. Then I put on a strip of squid on the hook and then wrapped the whole thing with this. I don't know what you call it. I used to have it and I don't even know what I did with it.
Oh, we do that here too, Dave, but you just use a real thin rubber band. A rubber band do the same thing.
This is called, they use it for like salmon fishing to make their little bags of salmon eggs.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
little thin elastic, and you go like that, it doesn't even break.
Right.
And I used to do that. The problem with that is it takes forever to set up a bait, get it on there, cut it, get it on, wrap it on, and it's just time consuming. Um, all kinds of stuff here. Oh yeah, Shore Sharp says if you have blue crabs, they have to shed into a soft crab. They are there. No one runs peeler pots down there. Well, I don't know. A crabber friend of mine does everything from blue crabs to stone crabs to, um, he told me he catches those soft crabs and keeps them until they turn into peelers. And I don't know. This guy knows more about crabs than I'd ever want to know.
All I can tell you is here, if somebody finds a soft shell blue crab, that's going on 2 pieces of bread.
Yeah, that's how I would pretty much. Yeah, that's how I would do it too. Full moon, shallow water at night. That's where the Bourne says the softies are. So, but either way, crabs, they're a thorn in my ass because they do work. But when Bob and Alice call me to go tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I've already got sort of a pain in my butt because of the fact they're giving me no time. And then they're not wanting to pay me enough to use. I don't know how many blue crabs would I use in a day, like say. I mean, if you got 4 people and you're running 4 rods, like I said, you can fill a 65-quart cooler full of crabs and you could probably burn them. And here's what you're going to end up doing all day: keeping that smell in the water. You start with this rod, you put on a crab, you flip it out. You go to the next one, you put on a crab, you flip it out. You go to the next one, put it on, flip it out. Next one, fourth rod, put it on, flip it out. Go back to the first one, reel it in because it's nothing but eaten out or washed out. And then you got to be cutting crabs in between. It's like, it's ridiculous. I mean, there is the greatest way in the earth to catch certain species of fish. There's the greatest way. But that doesn't mean you can do it or I can do it every single time I leave the dock. I mean, how much do I have to charge people if I'm going to go out there and use $75 worth of crabs?
Nobody wants the crabs.
I mean, even if I have to go out, buy 10 crab traps, right? Tag them, floats, find a place for them where they won't get stolen or anything like that. They won't get thieved. Okay. Go out in my boat, spend the fuel, spend the diesel, spend the time, come back, put those crabs on ice in a cooler in my yard or in my garage, or I don't know where I'm going to put them, on ice, something. And what am I supposed to do? I use shrimp. And I throw my cast net on pogies. And 99% of the time when I use a pogie, I'm whacking them in half. I'm letting the stink out. Or I'm using some cut mullet that I bought some big mullet this big that I whack into pieces. I mean, there's so much. There is perfection fishing, but the people I'm taking don't even know what perfection fishing is. So, I mean, it's all a moot point. But the point I was wanting to make out of this is life is not what it used to be. And I keep getting flashbacks to my community page. I don't know if you saw any of this, Gary. I don't know if any of y'all who are subscribers for a while, like Shore Sharp, or anybody who visits or sees any of my community page posts. Oh yeah, well you're right. Shore Sharp says crabs wouldn't be realistic for me. That's why you use shrimp. Heck, up here we don't use shrimp. We eat them all, or we eat them. Yeah, well, I don't hardly ever eat shrimp unless it's out in a restaurant. Well, they do all the cooking. Let's see what Blasted Cat said. We use bait tied sometimes for clam and oysters. Never thought about it for blue crabs. We use bait tied sometime for clam. Maybe he means clam and oysters. I don't know, Blasted Cat. You're gonna have to rewrite that. Yeah, a lot of people use oysters. I know guys that tear up the sheep's head on oysters. Many times, you got to remember too. When I use even my clam in the in the in the springtime, I'm only targeting a couple big sheep's head. I've had, I think, 2 or 3 instances where it was spring and um, the sheep's head were really chewing, and I used clam, and I had customers catch a 10-pounder, a 10-pound sheep's head, and we're nowhere near the jetty rocks. We're out on the edge because when they're spawning in the springtime, they kind of um, throw caution to the wind because they're out, just like the redfish. They're out dating or something. Blasted Cat says, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm trying to decipher his thing here. We use bait tubes. Bait tubes. Okay.
Like chum tubes?
Tubes.
Tubes. Like chum tubes, maybe.
Well, he's talking for clams and oysters. Never thought about it for blue crab.
Hey, New Vision says, he says, don't forget to smash the like button.
Yeah. Well, that always helps.
Did you? I don't know if the viewers know, and thank you both so much. They're both former Air Force guys, former military guys, served in the military, served overseas. Thank you so much for your service, Dave, and to you too, Blake. Thank you.
Oh, I think I know what he's talking about here. Blasted Cat. He's taking some kind of tube and he's putting the clam and oysters in it. And are you talking about that damn thing that guy on YouTube is selling? The little mesh, and then it's squished, and then you put your hook in it. He contacted me, and I'm like, dude, I don't know if I need all that. And there's this guy on YouTube where you inject it into these tubes or something. I don't putting clam and all for sheep's head fishing. Oh, kind of like pantyhose. Yeah.
Oh, a bait sock? Is that what you're talking about? Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, it's all stuff you should make up in advance. If you're going to put your clam or your oyster in it. I don't know. I actually liked that thread. I got really good at the bait sock, he says.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Vision says it's a bait sock or something. Blasted Cat said tubes. So maybe that's something to look into. I mean, I should get some of that. Maybe I should do a video of what I just did. I used. It worked for me, just wrapping that around. But even that was kind of time consuming because, again, there's that perfect bait out there. Am I able to do that all the time? No. But what I want to do, wrap a pantyhose at a rubber band and hook it through. Yeah. Well, that's exactly the kind of thing that I'm doing with my little bait wrapping thread.
Dave, you got some pantyhose over there laying around? You could.
Yeah.
No.
As a matter of fact, that spider web stuff, if you wrap it around enough, it stays tight, and it's kind of like sticking your bait in the pantyhose and all that. I mean, I had a friend of mine, or an associate, I'll say, who did that. What do they call them? Up in the Niagara River, below Niagara Falls. Steelhead.
Oh, steelhead. Yeah,
Steelhead.
yeah, yeah.
Um, New Vision. Yeah, I got one of those. It's called a chum tube built into my boat. You're talking about a PVC tube with a bunch of holes in it you can hang off the side. Yeah. Oh, and Blasted Cat says, yeah, that's it. But make your own. Yeah, you make up your own little thing to stick the oysters and the clam in. So what was I just talking about? Oh, yeah. The steelhead guy. Do you know what trouble they went through? I mean, I can't believe this. And I mean, they have to make 75 to 100 per trip. Per trip. That's how many they're going through or something. He did some guiding on the Niagara River for steelhead. Number one, you got to squirt out the eggs when you catch the steelhead. You got to keep the eggs. You got to soak them in some kind of borax or something. Then you got to lay them all out. And then they took this little square mesh. They did this little square mesh, kind of like the pantyhose thing. You count and put the eggs in there, push it in, spin it, tie it, and put them away. You had to do all this. He told me there's days when he got off the water in the afternoon, and then he had another trip the next day, but he didn't have enough of these salmon egg little bags, and he'd be up till 10 o'clock at night making these things, having his kids help him and everything, just so he could go the next day and have enough bait. Oh my God. I mean, it's a little bit.
I don't know, Dave. When I want clam chum, I just go out and buy a 5-gallon bucket of clam chum.
Yeah, you just go buy it, yeah.
It works.
It
does work.
Bourne says, is that at the Viagra Dam? No, actually, it's at Niagara Falls, not Viagra.
Viagra or Niagara?
Niagara. Niagara Falls. Below the falls, they do this steelhead fishing with you want to talk about current, with their trolling motors on like hyper magnum, and you're dropping down on a long leader with I think your leader's like 4 or 6 pound test. The water is Jamaica clean. It's like Jamaica clean water. And you're dropping down, he always said, on a little break, because the Niagara is built into a cavern with the water down here. But that cavern continues. And then you go along and you bounce your bait along, and then the steelhead would hit it. And you just got to let them go. And they jump and they go all over the place, and you're fishing like 6 pound test. So, but he told me, he says it was a ton of work to get all these baits done. So either way, I'm longing for the old days. $1.87 a gallon. Diesel. What was diesel? When gas was $1.87, what was diesel? $1.97?
No, it was a little more than that. A little bit. It shouldn't be, but it was a little bit more than that.
Bourne says, Niagara for women, Viagra for men. Well, I'm just longing for the old days, and I'm highly upset because we got 2 more years of this shit to go through. Oh, and let me, I know there's only 4 of you watching right now, but let me tell you something. I watched sort of this German scientist, and what she talked about was my favorite subject. These dumbass phones. And do you realize that 5G isn't everywhere yet? You know, fifth generation of wireless, I guess is what that means, is that's it's, I don't know all the terms, but that's within some bandwidth or something. And what it's going to do, it's going to interrupt the satellites that be able to give weather forecasts. And NOAA said they had an official from National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration sitting before like Congress saying 5G is going to interrupt our satellite, I don't know, wavelength or something to be able to observe the moisture content on the earth and in the atmosphere. And if that does that, it's going to send our predictability for things like hurricanes back to 1980. So you can sit in a doctor's office and watch YouTube. That's more important than doing the weather, knowing what the weather is going to be like. And this is globally now. There's a lot of countries that are backing off this 5G thing. Okay. And there's a when this megahertz or whatever, you've got the weather one over here, and you've got the cell phone one here. And the cell phone has a plus or minus of a certain percent that's getting in the way of the ones the bandwidth, or I don't know, the megahertz or whatever, to study the moisture content. And he said, right now we're doing hurricane predictions up until, let's say, 12 hours. They can tell you exactly where that hurricane is going to hit. And that, I mean, especially for Florida, this means so much, is they can tell people, get out. From here to here, it's going to hit. Well, back in 1980, instead of 12 hours, it was 4 days. 4 days. And now, because of the cell phone shit and having to constantly upgrade these cell phones because people want more and more and more and more and more, they're not happy with what it was. They're going to now, the wireless industry comes jumping into the science and saying, no, y'all are wrong. Y'all are wrong. And we're making sure that nothing's going to happen to this and that. But then all of a sudden, even right now, they're predicting 6G will be used by 2030. 6G. Okay. 6G, they said, is going to be never, ever, ever will you have to wait. No waiting, no buffering. It's going to be instant. You bring something up and it's going to instantly be on your cell phone. And they said it's because of this. The metaverse, the Facebook metaverse, that fake world you can live in, right? It has to be super duper fast. And for the virtual reality and all that. Well, that's more important than weather. That's what they're finding out. That all this cell phone shit is going to kill it when it comes to the weather forecasts and other things. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I actually asked, because my whole internet here was so slow, and they told me it's going to be so fast. My wireless internet that I have through T-Mobile and this stupid thing that I keep in my living room. And I said to him, I thought I was supposed to have all this 5G super speed. And the guy said to me on the phone, you don't have no 5G. And I said, what? That's what it said on the website of T-Mobile. He says, there's hardly any area in your area that's really got 5G. He says, you've got 4G LTE. I'm like, whatever, dude. I mean, it's just not fast. So I had to go back and forth with them. It's just ridiculous that this stupid thing right here, is going to be more important than forecasting the weather. That's what this German scientist was coming down. Because here's the science. This is what they're finding out. After the fact that all the scientists kind of write papers and they figure out this, and they're working with NOAA and working with other weather agencies across Europe. And they go, yep, this is what's going to happen if every major city has 5G. And then here comes the wireless companies coming and go, oh, no, that ain't right. It's kind of like if everybody says their Ford F-150 catches on fire at 100,000 miles. Everybody's F-150 just bursts into flames at 100,000 miles. And then Ford comes back and goes, oh, no, that's not correct. Only if you go over 65 miles an hour. I mean, it's all just so stupid. As a weather guy, I live and die by the weather. We all do if we're outdoors people. And that the cell phone industry says we're more important. I mean, I guess the cell phone industry really doesn't give a shit if you get hit by a hurricane or you can't evacuate fast enough or anything. So it's my, I always have a love and hate relationship with this thing right here. I've got a love-hate. I don't love it. I got a necessity for it, but I still hate it at the same time. I just found that to be extremely interesting. It's like my dad said tonight when I was over at my parents' for dinner. He worked somewhere doing something where they were teaching people or something how to answer phone calls for a cell phone company or whatever. And this is back when phones were to do one or two things: answer a call or make a call. He said back then, no one even mentioned that, oh, I want one with the internet connected to it. Nobody ever said that. It was you were happy to make a call or receive a call. Boom, that's where they should have cut it off. That's what it is. These ain't phones now. Phone? I mean, I watch a guy in New Zealand with some of the best fishing videos I've ever watched on his phone. That's all he uses. He doesn't own a GoPro. I don't know if he's got a GoPro. He's got a cell phone and a what do you call those things? A drone. And he does some of the best fishing videos you've ever seen in your life. And it's on a supposed phone. It's not even your phone's not even a phone. It's a camera. It's an internet. It's everything. So it just upset me. It just upset me to watch that. She didn't say anything about cell phone 5G cooking your brain. Born. Yeah, she said they've done all those tests and everything. They don't know it's not going to be cooking your brain, but.
Well, wait a minute, Dave. He's saying Cell phone 5G will cook your brain. I don't keep my phone in my pocket.
Well, that's true.
So
Most men have their brain in their face, right?
exactly. You knew where I was going with this. I think Bourne did that on purpose.
Okay.
Did you?
I think I get
Did
them.
he? Did he?
I don't know. Dr. Cat is playing hell with our metal detecting also. EMI. I don't know what EMI is. Electromechanical interruption.
Impulse. Impulse.
Impulse. Oh, radiation. Bourne says it's radiation. This scientist from Germany, I mean, this woman, I've watched her on YouTube several times. It's kind
What
of
she
like
look like, Dave? What she look like? She good looking girl or
just, and she's a little hard to understand. I'm not saying a little hard.
so she's not one of those good looking Fraulines.
Nah, I mean she's just average, but she's smart as a whip. I
Okay. All
mean,
right.
I watch her because she does such a wonderful presentation of the topics. Okay. So other than that, that's the reason I watch her. I wanted to make mention. I did it on my last one, and I guess they weren't very happy with me. The people from High Sea Boots, the footwear. I have not done a on my boat gone fishing. Does she shave her beard? I don't know. I don't know. Not all German women have beards, but I took my one of my last live streams and sent it to the High Sea Boot people, and he said, "We want you to use the boots on your YouTube channel," and I am. I showed you about them, but I haven't been. I haven't been out. I had one little kids trip. Okay, there's no business. Not that's the whole objective of this. 2 years of things being extremely abnormal out of my 26. I've lived through it all. I cannot believe that it's happening again. But when somebody sends me something like that, number one, I want to I want to wear them. I want to wear them on the boat, and I'll get around to that doing a video. But I showed the high seas perfectly good. I mean, they're really cheap compared to a lot of other like Extra Toughs and other brands. You go to their website, everything everything is in the video description, and there's a link for you to get 15% off with the free shipping and the lifetime warranty and the whole 9 yards. So I will be showing them again, but I showed them on the last live stream, and I put all the information down there. If you need a new pair of deck boots, I'm afraid that by the time I get out there, it's going to be too warm to wear them because it gets hot here. I mean, it was like, what, 78 degrees today? I mean, it was warm, warm, warm today. Okay, yeah, let's see. Blasted Cat says, recently read a peer-reviewed paper on the effects of a fully implemented 5G system on the bird's ability to migrate using the magnetic fields. Not good. And he says that whatever is electromagnetic interference. Well, you can kiss your good hurricane forecasts goodbye also. And just remember, 6G, according to this woman, is already planned for 2030. Remember what's important. It's having a pocket computer. You've got to have a pocket computer, or you're just, I mean, the tribes in Africa herding their cattle, their skinny ass cattle, across the desert with a stick, and they wear like these robes wrapped around them. They all have iPhones. And don't forget, they have
Dave, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've seen those are the cattle with the really long horns on them.
Yeah, I watch it on television.
I can't understand it. There's not much to eat there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh man, those
are you making? You can't make milk with those things. There's no way those things are filled with milk, and there's just not much there to eat. You know what I'm saying? It's like skin and bones.
That's like the more of those cattle they have, it's like having a yacht and a Maserati or something. I mean, that's their riches.
Yeah, I know. I it's just like I said. There's not much there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to each his own, but they all have iPhones and Facebook pages.
Yes, you're right. They do.
People think
They
these
do.
Africans don't have nothing and don't do nothing and this and that. They don't even have a place to charge them in. So these African towns will have, I watched it on a guy who's one of these globetrotters, like Bald and Bankrupt. It's actually a friend of his. He spent an entire like 6 months living with these people. They all take their cell phones to this guy who's got a store. And in that store, he'll hook it up to a charger for you so you can go back out into the woods or out into the desert.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about.
And
you know what? I watched a video like that the other day, and I actually felt bad for these people because, they're going to some well. This is their drinking water, and the guy puts it in the back of an old beat up. They don't even make them any, a Datsun truck.
Yeah.
He puts it in there, and he's pumping it, and what comes out, it looks like mud. It's like mud water. And I'm saying to myself, God, these people, they're making do with what they have, but
then they got cell phones.
I know that, but then the thought came to my mind, anybody that says that this country is terrible, it's horrible, whatever, should watch that because we have clean water. These people are drinking mud water. It literally looked like if I went out, it's raining here right now. If I went into my backyard and scooped up a puddle and put it in a plastic container, that's what these people's water looked like,
Hell, I don't even drink my well water now. I buy 5-gallon, 6-gallon containers and have it on a stand because I'm getting too many minerals and stuff out of my water, and I don't want any more kidney stones or iron, or I don't want any of that, or sulfur. I can't have any of that because I've got enough issues. And Blasted Cat just nailed it on the head. The German chick, Sabine Hassenfelder, good channel. Yeah. I wouldn't call her a chick, but that's her name, Sabine. Sabine Hassenfelder. Yeah. Oh, Bourne says Biden is going to ban clean water. I want to get back to one little serious subject, and we're going to end it with that. And I know Gary knows it. I know a couple of you have seen it. On my community page before the election, I had people coming on because I was trolling people. I was trolling them as hard as I could. I'd put up stuff about Trump and this and that, and how Biden is just a government tit sucker, right? And all this stuff. And they would absolutely have dysfunction going on and telling me I was full of shit and all that. You know, those people, they all went away. They all went away. There's no such thing as those people anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that. Not
You know
just
how
you.
they all went away when they had to
Yeah,
pay
they did.
$5 a gallon?
Yeah, they got real quiet. I noticed that.
Yeah. You know, I watched some video the other day where a guy says, you know, go ahead and threaten to move to Canada now. Canada is worse than here. I have a new website being built by a guy in Nova Scotia. And he said he took his girlfriend's kids or something and himself to McDonald's. And the kids just got little hamburgers and, you know, we're talking little kid. I think the oldest one was 8 or 10 years old. And he said he left out of there and his bill was like $38. Okay. At a McDonald's. He says, you go in to the grocery store and a gallon of milk. Now, this is in Canadian money, which is not worth as much as ours. It's below ours. Not by much, but it is below ours. And he says a gallon of milk is $6.50. Loaf of bread is $5.50.
Yeah, I believe it.
Okay. Now, they may get paid more, just like you, Gary. Up there where you live, everybody has to be making more to afford living there.
Yeah, you have
I
to.
up there, and I can't afford to live in Long Island. With the whatever I make, I can't live up there. Right? So that's the reason why Alt Skinner, Jigging Jerk, his buddy with the Seahawks boat, they're all down here. They're all living it up.
Of course.
Up. You know? Going
Those are basically your northern carpetbaggers. Am I right?
Oh,
going down. I don't blame them though. I mean,
I don't blame them either. But at the same time, they're coming down here and they are living the high life. Me, if I had to go just money in my pocket, go to Long Island or anywhere in New York and just go on not necessarily a vacation or anything, I couldn't deal with it. And I mean, you go to when he's telling me about Nova Scotia, Canada, oh my God. I hope all these assholes move there. So that's another thing. I got a new website being built by a Canadian. And it's this close. How much is that? It's that close to completion. And I'm going to post a link to it. Of course, it's CaptainDaves.com, but my old website is going to be gone. And there's going to be this new one. I'm so excited about it because it looks so good compared to my website now. Yeah, those guys are all out shopping for a new dress. Who? Those dudes are, Plastic Cat says those dudes are all out shopping for a new dress. I don't know what that means.
I think he means, like Trudeau and all of those Canadian people.
Up there? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, it's nice to be able to talk to a guy on the phone that I have a good relationship with, who's in Nova Scotia. You know, the home of the trailer park boys. You know who they are?
No.
It's a Canadian TV show. It's a Canadian TV. I don't think they do it anymore, but it was about a trailer park with these guys that live in it, and it's in Nova Scotia. And it's just a crazy show. They're all like a bunch of drunks and drug addicts, and it's just they're big time Rush fans. And there's a guy named Bubbles who has the glasses that are real thick. You've never seen that?
No, I've never seen it.
Look up Trailer Park Boys on YouTube.
All right, I will.
You'll shit your britches. I mean, they are just a bunch of, and these guys are world famous now. World famous. There's people that know who they are in England and everything. Trailer Park Boys. That's all I can tell you about Nova Scotia is that they were from the show was supposed to be in Nova Scotia. I mean, supposedly that's where the location, and they never said
Right.
we're in Nova Scotia, but that's where.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
So okay, Blasted Cat. Let's see what he said. Let's see. Somebody says Bourne says road rage up 300%. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, probably mass shootings are up 300% too. Yes, they make too money. Yes, they make too much. Too much. Well, I guess I don't know. Too much. They work. They would retire from anything and come to work for the sheriff's office for us. They laugh at what we make. Oh, there you go, Gary. Yes, they make too much money up there. They would retire from the NYPD and come work for the sheriff's office with us. They laugh at what we make. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're laughing. I mean, there's a difference. Money, of course, everybody likes money, everybody likes buying things. But just the fact that you could go to Florida, if you're a cop, you're a police officer, you could go there and leave a place where nobody has your back. You're ridiculed if you make a decision and it's not politically correct, and you're going to wind up going to jail or stuff. If you can leave that behind and go to a place where you'll get some respect and work for people that are going to have you back, that in itself is worth more than gold. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
It's worth so much. It is just to know that, if you have to make a decision, a split second decision that might not be popular, with the news media or whatever, but it's the correct decision. Somebody's going to stand behind you. Somebody's going to have your back. That in itself is priceless.
Well, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I mean, he's just off the cuff saying that they were making so much more up there.
But it's all relevant, it really is. It's all
what was
relevant.
The budget $1 billion for New York City?
Yeah, I don't know. I to be honest with you,
back in your day, but I mean, I think they just said that in the last couple of years, the budget for the NYPD was $1 billion.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the largest police department in the entire country. There is no police department in the United States that's larger than that. It's the biggest.
Well, I'm just gonna we're gonna hang this up now, but it went well. I just wanted to pass on the point that nothing is really making me very happy. I'm not feeling the joy, because the joy for me is standing on the deck of my boat with or without customers. And I'm just not doing as much of it. And I cannot wait, because see, the only way I'm going to be able to go do R&D now is if I got, let's say, customers. We go out, we fish, they get off the boat, the tide's still good, and I can go mess around because the boat's already in the water and I've already made enough to buy groceries.
Well, Dave, all I can say is this. If you ever run for office and you win and you're put in a position of extreme power, I am going to invest in a rope company, a company that makes rope, because with all the people, you know where I'm going with this, that are going to wind up swinging, they won't be able to make enough. Rope will be a commodity. That's all I could tell you.
Well, I wish. I'd love to do that. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to own stock in that rope company.
You'll be the driving force behind its profits.
Oh well, I
That's
don't
all I can
know.
say.
I don't know. I can honestly tell you that they don't want me to stand in a line and have Biden go by and try to shake my hand. Because I think I would have to just say, you know what? As I said in my post on my community page, you are nothing but an MS-13 gang member without the tattoos on your face. There's no difference between you and them. They're organized crime, criminals, right? Gangs. And you are the gang leader of the swamp. He's the gang leader. So I mean, he's a white collar criminal. And I mean, this is all coming out now. It's all coming out where he thinks his shit don't stink.
Well, we kind of knew this. It's just it's being more accepted now. It's
Well, yeah,
more
because
people are opening their eyes to it, and they're gonna. More people are not denying it. They're more aware of his dealings, shall I
yeah,
say?
yeah. Well, I mean, the only reason they're even not the only reason they're pursuing all this instead of hiding it is they don't want him running in 2024.
No, because he'll. I really think that Trump's going to wind up winning regardless, but he's less of a chance than you know than if he wasn't there.
There's a lot of people that don't want Trump. They don't want him because they know that he is going to cause controversy and it's just going to be going and going and going. But so what if you get somebody younger and everything? Let's just use DeSantis as an example. You get him in there, and he says stuff just like Trump. Then they're going to just be all over him for the next 4 years.
Of course,
It doesn't matter. My aunt and uncle were just visiting my parents here for the past couple days, and we're all sitting around eating dinner at my mom's big dining room table. And my uncle is what, 86, and my aunt is, I don't know, 83 or something. And my aunt turns to me and she says, Dave, you don't want to hear this. I know you don't want to hear it, but I hope Trump doesn't run or win or whatever. And I said, I understand, because it's all this. They will not leave that alone. Anybody disturbing the swamp, they don't like it. But it doesn't matter who it is, you know. It doesn't matter who it actually is going to be. You take that Kristen Noem or whatever from South Dakota. My God, what a pleasure to look at. I mean, that's a good looking woman, man. Okay. And if she ran and became president of the United States, you know, you've got to have some balls to tell her that she's doing everything wrong, because her state is like Florida, thriving. You know,
right? Yeah, absolutely.
and she'll tell them just like right up to their face the same thing. So would they jump all over her as a woman?
Of course,
Jump all over her too?
I think you'd jump all over her.
You know, I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, let's pack this up, and that's what's bothering me is I can't do what I want to do. Sleepy Joe is disrupting my lifestyle big time, and I don't like it. He doesn't know it. He doesn't. He's disrupting a lot of people's lives. And right now, what do we got? We literally right now in January got like 2 more years. Is that correct?
Well, no, it's just 2023. We have a year left, right? The new election will be in November of 2024, right? We have all of. Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
but then nothing takes place until January, right?
Oh yes, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So it
You're
literally
right.
is like 2 years from now. Oh my God. And Bill O'Reilly keeps saying, hang on to your ass cheeks because 2023 ain't going to get no better.
Yeah, I've been watching him, but I
Man,
mean, hopefully, with the new Congress and everything, maybe they'll have something come out where we can have his next up on deck, become president, Kamala Harris. That would be a real pleasure too, wouldn't it?
oh my God. I don't know if there's a woman. Is there a woman in politics that's ever been as stupid as that stupid bitch is? I
Yes,
mean,
Nancy Pelosi.
oh, but Nancy Pelosi is smart, man. She knew how to work the system.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it's just that she's not well liked.
Yeah,
I can't stand her. I just, there's just something about her that,
man.
you know,
All right. Well, Blasted Cat says his wife works for Clay County. Okay. Bourne says don't want DeSantis either. Let's see. Bourne says Biden doesn't know where he is half the time. Blasted
it's
Cat
true.
worked and retired from St. Johns County, meaning I know who Blasted Cat is, even though he isn't going. He's using his stage name. All right. Well, we're going to end this now, and we'll hopefully see if there's something different going on by next Sunday. The problem is there needs to be things going on, to chat about. Besides me buying spoons that I wish I could go out and challenge myself. I mean, I'll give you an example of challenging myself. I went out one day and did nothing but fish the egret bait voodoo mullet. Nothing but. It was like in March. Nothing but this segmented 4-inch mullet looking lure. I went out in March. I caught a whole bunch of trout on it. And then I ended up catching the largest redfish I ever caught in my entire life on a lure. I cast it back at a piling. I let that lure sink. It felt like 10 foot of line got sucked up into a whale's mouth. I reeled down. I set the hook on a light, ugly stick striper with a Ryoga on it. And for the next 30 minutes, I was in pure battle. And I got that thing up, and it was a 26-pound redfish that end my day after catching a ton of trout on it. And I looked behind me, and it was a piling behind the boat. And I said to myself, I wonder if something is near that piling. Plunk. And I went 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato. And all of a sudden, I go to pull it back, and something went sucked up that line, and I set the hook. And I'm telling you, that was one of the greatest fights I had. And that was years ago now. And I have a feeling I can do it all over again with something gold and flashy. And I'd love, even this time of year, I'd love to kind of putt up into some creeks and throw even this little light one, right? And catch some reds on it and stuff like that, some pup reds. I don't care. I just want to play. And I hate not being able to play because play ends up costing a lot of money. So, yeah, Blasted Cat says Mark Dice is the truth. Mark Dice is a prophet. There's a few people that are coming out now in today's day and age that are almost like prophets. The guy who wrote the book, what was his name? George Orwell, that wrote the book 1984. In his
1984.
day, nobody knew it, but he was a prophet. He could look into the future. Mark Dice, he looks into it, he studies it. Like he says, I ain't nothing but a guy with a laptop in my kitchen, but he's staying on it, There's a
You
lot
want
of
to see if you want to see a prophet, look at some of the older Ronald Reagan videos.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, we knew that too. Yeah.
That guy was spot on.
He knew what was
unbelievable. Like he had a crystal ball sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess there probably even was somebody back then that said, this thing right here will destroy your country. It destroys your people, and it can help destroy your country. This stupid thing right here. I mean, it's just that simple. So, but either way, we'll pack it up, and I don't know what we're going to do next week, but we'll try to figure out what we can do. And thanks for everybody who stopped by. I don't know. We got 11 viewers right now.
11.
It was down to 4. So maybe some people are coming in late, but I appreciate everybody coming all the way. We got all the names here. We've got, let's see. Well, it's the same. We got old Frank from Mobile, Alabama. New Vision Residential, Biker Don, trying real hard. Born, I'm in Green Cove on the river. Gold is king here, meaning, boy, Born is in Green Cove Springs, Florida, and the Chesapeake. Man, he must be like,
you got a new viewer here, Elizabeth Owens. She's saying hello.
Oh, Elizabeth Owens. Let me see.
Is she new to the channel?
I'm not there yet. Well, I'm not seeing it. Oh yeah.
She's saying hi, Captain.
Yeah, I don't know if she's new or not. Hello, Elizabeth. Thanks for stopping by, but we're just about to pack it up. So, who else we got? Blasted Cat. They all stopped by. Born, he stopped by. Let me see who else. New Vision Residential. The man with the plan. I mean, I'm gonna hire New Vision Residential as my financial advisor.
He's a good guy.
Oh man,
Blake is a good guy.
I want him to get his ass down here and tell me how to do it.
He is a good guy, Blake. Both of you guys.
Sure.
2 military guys, 2 Air Force guys served overseas. They probably tell you more about the crabs than anybody else.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Blake was Air Force, was he?
Yeah, I believe he was.
Army.
What was the Army? Blake, were you Army or Air Force?
I think he was Army. Yeah. Trying real hard, Biker Don. All right. Well, it's a good smattering of people here that came in to check it out. I appreciate it. And we'll be trying, and I'll let you know on my community page, on my YouTube channel. Again, I don't know where people find it. I guess they do. But I will try to keep you updated on possibly what the goings on for next Sunday will be.
But do a lot of these people, Dave, because, I'll be totally honest with you, I didn't know what a community page was. You know what I'm saying? Until I talked to you and looked around, I had no idea. But maybe some of the viewers don't know what a community page is. It's easy enough to go to. It's just when you're looking at videos, you don't necessarily click on that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. My dad keeps saying, "Where do I even find it?" And I just
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it shows up. I don't know a lot. I don't know everything. You could have a college class on how to operate YouTube. But I just noticed here, Blasted Cat says, Captain Dave, did you see the videos I made with Jetty Rocks? Had a blast. I made with or at? No, I didn't see it. I'd like to see it. Send it to me. Copy the share link if it's a YouTube video and send it to jettywolf@gmail.com. jettywolf@gmail.com. Just hit the share button and ship that video over to me. I didn't see anything. Well, I quit. I thought at one point I was going to be a drone pilot and I was going to give up the charter fishing business and become a drone pilot in my kitchen. I was going to do that for a while. I thought that was going to be a hot business. And now I just need to go into landscaping. I need to go into landscaping or something and just get out of this. I got to just jump into the 450,000 other guys that do landscaping in Jacksonville, Florida. There's just literally, you go on one street and you'll see 15 of them on one street. It's ridiculous. No, I need to stick to what I know best in all reality. But that would be nice if you sent me a video. I don't know where it was. Elizabeth Owen says, yes, my dad and brother and I went fishing a long time ago with Captain Dave at the jetties in Mayport, Florida, when we were there on vacation. Oh, okay. All righty. So we went to the jetties. Isn't that a mystery? That's my favorite place to go. Well, thanks, Elizabeth, for stopping on by. And I guess that's about it. All right. Well, we're going to pack this up. And Gary, I'll see you on the slide, brother.
All right, man. Talk to you later, Dave.
Hey, don't forget on this video, I feel like I'm always begging. I got to beg.
There you go.
I got to beg. Chinese social credit score. Come on. And don't forget to check the links in the video description because that's where you can save 15% perpetually on a pair of those high C deck boots or whatever boots that they got. So you can check them out if you're in need of some new deck boots. And they got like black camo ones. They got all kinds of colors. They got all kinds of hunting boots and everything. So, okay, Blasted Cat says Jetty Rocks Fishing, YouTube. Is that what I just put in? Jetty Rocks Fishing? Huh. I haven't been to the, well, I was at the Jetty Rocks. When was I at the Jetty Rocks? Oh, I was on the Jetty Rocks this past Tuesday. Was it this past Tuesday? Let's see, the 22nd is today. Yeah, almost a week ago, I was at the Jetty Rocks with a bunch of kids. So, kids and mom and dad. And we were catching whitelins, also known as whiting. So, I'll look that up. I'll type in Jetty Rocks Fishing on YouTube, Blasted Cat, and see if I can come up with that. So, all right. See y'all later. Till next time. Thanks, Gary.
See you later, buddy. Bye-bye.